Got something going on, so that's all I know.
Oh, wow.
I'm fine. How are you?
Do you want to sit down or not?
Brother-in-law had it done.
No, hey, how are you?
Moments when I see the way I stretch. Yeah, it really is. Amazingly delightful.
Hi.
Yes.
She's stressing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Testing days, she was stressing over. Besides that, she's really fine. She does. She never stresses over most of the days.
Okay.
I will. I'll see her this weekend.
Oh, good.
Yeah, going down this weekend.
Okay. Are you okay?
I'm also okay.
You've shifted back over to the heating, because it's so pretty right now. And so we put in yeah. So we shifted over to propane in the low. So when we moved to the heating, got the stove. Because that wood stove, we converted it to propane, which we had done in Canada the whole week. So we put it on the place and it turned out to be and so it circulated through the stove, there was a blower and out, it just circulated right up your face. And so we got so we had a bunch of layers. Oh no. So turned out not to be very good. They just went out functioning after about a month. Like what is it? It was a flat cage. And one day, this summer, we had bought there's old cabinets and some of the fall vehicles just she has 3 or 4 places where she can be above it, around it, and right there on the streets. Yes. We have the cheap one, which is Christmas. But it's also about $1.79 to $3. The other one is yeah. Every 25 gallons. And winter time. Oh, so you're yeah. No, $1.25, it's okay. We're back east, $6 places.
Folks, it's 4 o'clock, I'm gonna call the meeting to order. Thank you for all being here.
Well, that's good. You know, 3 times we were
Commissioner Ref out of town, so did just the two of us. Public comments, Virginia.
Yes, I'd like to make an announcement that PREP, which is our Port Roberts Emergency Preparedness Group, is going to have a meeting on the 11th. It's the second Tuesday of March at 7 o'clock at the community center. And we will have people come from Bellingham DEM to talk about how our volunteer programs can help in times of emergency, whether it's big emergencies or little emergencies. And so we're hoping that we would be able to invite the commissioners to come for that, as well as Chief Carlton, if that's at all possible, as well as we're trying to get as many community members out as we can. And so we appreciate you coming to visit with us.
Could you repeat the date again and the time?
11th of March,
Okay.
7 o'clock at the community center. And then one extra thing, again, a thank you to Chief Carlton. He did another Trauma First class, small, but the response from this class was extraordinary. They had such a good experience that we really want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
And I really enjoyed being able to take part in a little bit of it, so that was good. Thank you.
Thank you, Virginia. Always nice to hear from you. And nice to see you at your hospital. Approval of the minutes of last month.
Mr. Chair, I'm prepared to offer a motion to accept the minutes
Okay.
for last month.
Okay, let's bear a minute with me. Any further discussion? I don't. You do? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed 2-0. Excuse me. Michelle, by the way, welcome back. How was your vacation? You look good. We should all go. Okay, that was that. Suzanne, go ahead.
Current month payables total $35,368.16, which includes a few items to point out. Volunteer payouts that are included in the warrants total $4,230. This reflects January 2014 activity. There's a payment to Shell Oil for gasoline and diesel for $1,250.42. A payment to Puget Sound for $1,575. U.S. Bank Corp, which is our credit card, has a balance of $17,488.62, which it includes the charge from the pier for the awards ceremony for $31,8780 and a charge for EMT and fire training for $12,087.29. We also have an invoice for the Washington State Auditor for $4,082.18. Payroll for January totals $12,417.67. This represents 1 month's salary for Chief Carlton in the amount of $41,6667, 1 month's salary for Assistant Shields in the amount of $2,583. There was 1 meeting for 3 commissioners. The secretary had 1 meeting. Volunteer payouts for January total $5,242 in payroll. Our financials for January will be late as we're setting up a new computer and software here in the department. I could do them on the existing software that I have, but then I would have to do them all over again because the new software is in a different computer language than the old software. And I just figure you guys don't need to pay me to do something 2 times. And I've had several discussions with the software company about this and let them know how I feel, which is not very good. As mentioned on the agenda in the new business, the exit interview for our audit is Friday, this coming Friday at 2 p.m. We require motions to approve the warrant request covering current month vouchers and the current month payroll.
Thank you, Suzanne. I have a question, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
On the auditor, are we paying them in installments now, or is that?
It will be.
It will be.
I'm sure we'll get another bill.
This is the first.
This is
bill.
the first bill, and let me just find it here. Be patient. So this bill is for 5.5 hours at $83.60 an hour for Auditor Flores and 42.6 hours for Holly Graham, which is the woman that came up here, at $83.60 an hour. And those were charges in the month of December. So there will be more.
Yeah, I know. If I recall correctly, the estimate was something like about $9,000 or so in that area for the whole thing.
I
95, I don't remember that.
I don't remember that.
Would you know from that invoice that you have received if that auditor, what's her name, Holly,
Yeah.
does she charge for travel time and that sort of thing?
Oh, I'm sure she does. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They charge for everything.
Did you invite them or?
Holly?
Huh?
Yeah, she's at the meeting.
I know.
It's coming up. It's down at Bellingham.
So
So she doesn't have any travel costs coming up. We're traveling, yeah.
No, we're traveling.
Yeah.
Did you invite her to come over here?
When she came and did the inspection?
Yeah.
Yeah, I sure did.
Oh, nice of you.
Yeah. So she came
That's a
up.
lot of money.
No. You know what? That was her idea.
Yeah, that was offered by them, so
Yeah,
they should charge us.
She said she wanted to come for a visit, but as far as she knew, no auditor had ever come to visit us.
That's right.
And so I said, come on.
Thank you.
Why do I feel like I'm in trouble over that?
So I'd just like to go over real quick the cost to EMT and Fire Training Incorporated for $12,087.29. That is for the EMTs and advanced EMTs currently going through training. So I just want everybody to know what that cost is for. So we currently have 4 EMTs and 4 advanced EMTs in the current training. And we're looking at starting field clinicals later. So we've had a 5th one. The 5th one may be on the cusp of whether or not continuing the program or not at this point. So that is a Canadian member. And the Canadians, just to remind everybody, the Canadians are required to pay up front for their course. And then if they spend a year with this organization, after they become state certified EMTs, this organization will reimburse them for the cost of the course at that time, but not before.
Thank you, Chief. Do you have any questions?
Suzanne, are there any items of material consequence in the financial report you highlight?
What do you mean, material consequence?
Well, instead of going and asking 6 questions, I'm asking one. Is there anything substantial material in your report that you would like to tell us about?
I did in my report.
That's all I need in the report.
Yeah. I pick out, what I've always done is pick out things that are over $1,000, you know, but to me, those are significant, that's a significant amount for me just to bring to your attention, but, you know, everything is in here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else, Jeff? Before I'd like to ask you for a motion, or 2 motions rather.
Ask away.
Whenever you're ready, if you want to make a motion.
I submit a motion to approve the current month payables, $35,368.16. And I approve the motion to the payroll. Is that the other thing I do?
Yep.
And approve the current month payroll as submitted to this meeting.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Motion passed 2-0. That was that. Thank you, Suzanne, appreciate it.
Yep.
Chief, correspondence?
Yep, one correspondence concerning the parking lot and another correspondence from a emergency medical call thanking us for the service that we gave on that call. Those are the only 2 correspondence.
What was the parking lot query about this time?
The parking lot, just the same issues with it being very, very dark, the cracks in the parking lot, and if there's anything that's going to continue on that.
Was that received in January?
That was received, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Is there some way we can audit the parking lot, so to speak, and take a view of the surface area and the lighting requirements?
Well, the lighting requirements we looked at, and the surface area, I believe that this parking lot's never been smoother when it comes to the surface area. And I don't know how to improve it other than ripping it all out and laying new asphalt within the parking lot. The lighting issue we've talked about for the last couple meetings, and again, this is a landing zone for Airlift Northwest, so we can't have lighting that protrudes out into the surface of the parking lot beyond so many feet from the building, and I think that's within 30 feet of the building. Any lighting that is out in the parking lot has to be projected down. It cannot be projected up due to the aviation issue with the helicopter coming in at night. I don't know what else we're going to be able to do with the lighting in the parking lot. Again, we've extended our assistance for anybody that has disabilities who needs extra lighting. At the ending of this meeting, we're more than welcome to assist them out to their vehicles and make it as safe as possible for those individuals. And that's at no cost to this district. I mean, that's with the personnel that are here. So it's a difficult position.
Well, there's no obvious solution.
Yeah, that's where we're at.
There still exists, more than a concern, there still exists a situation.
There does, but I don't know if that concern will ever go away, will ever be put to bed, regardless of what we do to assist these individuals, out in the parking lot without compromising the safety of an aircraft that's coming in to pick up critically injured patients. Again, we're available to assist anybody with disabilities through the parking lot, since it is new, it's a black surface at this point, and to get them out to their cars, to make sure that the path is clear, to assist them in any way. And we're welcome to do that with the lights off the fire trucks. We can have flashlights available to us, and we'll be holding those as we're assisting those individuals. And I don't know what else can be done by personally assisting a person with American disability. That's the safest way that I believe that somebody can get back out to their vehicle, after night when it comes to the obscurity of vision.
Do you have a solution?
That would be hubris on my part.
Say what?
That would be hubris.
Oh, okay. Oh.
I have something else we can try that occurs to me, because we're sort of betwixt the air, the sky, and the parking lot with our helicopter necessities. It's an awful large parking lot to light and really expensive. But I think my solution would be one that, if I had one, would be one that was pointed towards the surface. And I don't think that we want to surface the parking lot, even if we had the money, because it's not clear to me that the parking lot doesn't fit in with our mission.
Well, we have to have a drivable surface. And the parking lot is not only for the usage of the fire district, but it's also for the usage of those getting service at the clinic. So we have two variables there when it comes to, is the parking lot suited for those types of individuals. I don't know if a parking lot that's painted white. I don't know if a parking lot that's painted gray, blue, red. All new asphalt surfaces are black. Now the lining that is painted on a parking lot, if you would like, I can check into painting the entire area between the handicap spots and the building a brighter color, so it's more seeable at night for those individuals. That's not going to compound any way of our vehicles passing through that area. That would be a solution, to have that painted a brighter color for individuals so they can see getting to the vehicles in the handicap zones. That would include the handicap zone over here as a diagonal that's used for primarily the clinic, along with these two out here. I don't believe that's necessary with the handicapped parking spot that's next to the building over by the office main entrance. But that could be a solution, make it brighter in those particular areas for those with disabilities to get to the building from their handicapped positions.
That may be a solution. Another solution might be to actually paint out sidewalks that collect people down the center. I think we would use two out there.
Sure.
If we can continue the surface maintenance at little cost, and as you said, probably with in-house labor, and paint some lines where we get the cars lines painted, handicap painted, and we could have a collection of pathways painted it all right up to the front of the building. That would give people who are walking an anchor.
Sure. I'd be happy to check in to see what type of pathways and how many we would need and what span. And I'll be happy to check into that. That's a great idea. And then compare that to just surfacing the entire area in a brighter color. So next meeting I'd be happy to bring, or if I find something out prior to that, I can at least extend the information to you, and we can make a decision on that at the March meeting.
With the goal of getting off the agenda for 2015.
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you, Jim.
I'd be happy to do that, absolutely.
Thank you. Mr. Wilmot, you already gave the answer. There is no solution to this thing, okay?
There's always a solution. It's just
No,
perfect.
there really is not a solution, because if we find something out that can work today, I'll guarantee you within 48 hours somebody will find something going again. So, I remember quite clearly last time we had a meeting, it was my opinion as chairman of the board that we put this issue completely to rest. I basically asked you the question if you had a solution, because already there is no solution for it.
It's a trick question, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, you know what, we have another pilot here in the audience, Andrew over there. I'm one and Andrew was one too, and we're in the same boat, we were pilots. There's not one runway in the world that's painted white. It's not good, it reflects. There's not one runway or a landing zone in the world that is completely safe. I can guarantee you, and Andrew will probably second that one. The moment a landing zone or a landing strip or a runway is wet, it starts reflecting at night. The least amount of lights you have, unnatural light, reflecting light, the better it is. Am I out of light here, Andrew? So, I'm 100% in favor of not to screw or not to undo anything that we do for emergency transport here with helicopters. That should be completely left on its own. We have done, in my book, in the way I've seen it, the way I've heard it, from all present here, we've done our utmost, and I mean this sincerely, utmost, to accommodate those who need help here. We've offered personal help, we've offered flashlights, we've offered apparatus outside with the bright lights shining, illuminating the walkways. I don't know what else to do, folks, I'm sorry. I just don't know. Come to the point that you say, hey, enough is enough. As one member of a three-member board, that's my opinion. There's always somebody who would like to take it further, and I can't help that. That's the freedom we have in an operation like this. We're all, you know, we have our opinions, and I just gave you my opinion. Anyhow, enough said about this. Chief, go ahead with your report.
Okay. For the month of January, so a number of different items, point of information. We conducted a PEP class, which is a pre-hospital emergency pediatric provider course for the district EMTs. This is a 16-hour emergency medical national course that's offered in pediatric emergency care. That's how to handle pediatric trauma and also pediatric OB, delivery of babies, pediatric cardiac arrest. So this was a 16-hour course that I am producing for our organization. I'm a national instructor in this curriculum and trying to get every one of our EMTs trained to this level. So that provides better knowledge, better response, and efficiency of our people when we deal with pediatrics. We don't deal with pediatrics that often, so it's obviously important to train on it as much as we can. As Virginia said, I also conducted a trauma first response course for the certain prep members who are wanting to have that education. Again, this is going to help us in disaster response if we ever have a mass casualty incident here from either a flood or from an earthquake, and it's going to help those responders help our organization responders and be on the same page when it comes to trauma care. So it's a great class, and I'm happy, and thank you very much for your members participating as well. I participated in a cross-border insurance discussion on the Bill Wood Show on CKNW 980 AM. This was conducted because the Bill Wood Show contacted me due to the issues that we have with Canadians coming across that are not insured in an international component. And we had about a half an hour discussion on this radio show. And we had 4 or 5 callers, if I remember, actually call in and express support, not only for gaining cross-border insurance, but the importance of that as well. Some people had stories of $60,000, you know, cross-border insurance costs because they didn't spend $300 to expedite that or cross that expense to them when they had an emergency in the States. One of the biggest pushes that this organization is making, that we're doing when we're out contacting people in a public relations format on either medical calls or when we're out driving around and we're down in Maple Beach, people come up, we're handing out public relations materials. we're asking people to be cross-border insured. The other thing that the Americans need to understand as well is that you need to make sure that your insurance has cross-border coverage, because when you go into Canada, we're in the same boat as the Canadians coming here to the United States. And you will be transported to a Canadian facility if you have an emergency, even if you're driving through 99. BC Ambulance is under Parliament authority, and they do not and will not, in my knowledge with discussions to them, transport you to the border and wait on an ambulance to be accepting you from the United States side. Therefore, we do not transport to inappropriate facilities as well. We have had people having heart attacks that have refused our level of care because they're worried about the cost. So our transport decisions are not based on ability to pay or the citizenship of the patient that we're treating. Our transport decisions are based off the acuity of the emergency the patient is presenting with. So if we have a patient that's having a heart attack, having a stroke, has major trauma implications from an accident, therefore those patients are going to be going south regardless of ability to pay or nationality. They're going to be taken to St. Joseph's Medical Center, which is the only transport destination seen by the Department of Health for myself as a practitioner in Whatcom County to transport to. The Department of Health does not have any authority over, or nor does it recognize any facility in Canada for me to use as a transport destination with any patient as a practitioner here in a transport unit in Whatcom County. So I'm going to do my best not to put this organization in any increased liability from the inappropriate transport of a patient just due off of nationality to an inappropriate facility when they're having a major trauma incident, cardiac incident, or stroke incident. If we have minor emergencies, those emergencies can be even driven by a personal friend in a private vehicle, or they can take themselves, have a family member take themselves to the hospital. That was the discussion on the Bill Wood show, and it was a good discussion. So I hope that a lot of people are listening to that show. I hope they have gone out and acquired that cross-border insurance. And again, for our citizens here, it's important for you to look at your insurance, call your insurance, make sure that you're covered while traveling through Canada. Even though it's just to get to Bellingham, if an emergency happens, you need to make sure you're covered as well. Okay. The EMT and advanced EMT students are doing very well in the class. They're getting ready to begin the field rotations again, and the hospital rotations will be at St. Joseph's Hospital in Bellingham. They're required to do so many hours of emergency room rotations. And then the advanced EMTs, which is the intermediate level of EMT, you have EMT basics, you have advanced EMTs, and you also have paramedics. So the advanced EMTs have higher skill sets. They're able to give certain medications, deal with diabetics, deal with cardiac episodes, narcotic overdoses, and etc. Those students are required to do more hours. I think it's 72 to 96 hours of field time. They'll also be riding with Fire District number 7 in Ferndale, Washington for the ambulance ride time that they have to produce, and that'll be with Medic 41 for the advanced EMT students. So that's on its way. Hopefully they'll be completed with their training by June. They take their national registry. We'll be taking their national registry in the end of May, early June, and then we'll have them certified by the state come July at some point. So that's the goal of the program. The first upload of the recorded meeting was successful. It took us a little while. It's an MP4 format, which is a huge format, but that's the only format that we've been able to look at this camera, and the only format that it actually records into. Otherwise, it's a high definition format, and I don't know if that's something that's being able to be cross-populated into our website. Our website is going to be going through an upgrade with its software currently, and so everything's going to be being transported over to a new format. As far as I understand, it'll have the same look, but it's going to have different options and some options that aren't currently available that may be able to help us serve the public better through our website. Apparatus, engine 58, we had a transmission issue with engine 58, and it hasn't repeated itself. So we called a number of shops, transmission shops, and told them what circumstances we were having the troubles, and they had us do a couple things. We were able to find a code that was telling us what trouble we had, and it hasn't repeated. So right now it's running well. If the transmission repeats itself and doesn't allow it to shift, then we'll definitely have to take it in at that point. But it could have been just a simple error by the operator trying to pump the apparatus. We just don't know yet at this time, but it's working well right now. There's nothing else to report on any of the apparatus: engine 5802, battalion 58, utility 5802, aid 58, aid 5802, or chief 58. Current member roster, we have 45 members, 30 Canadian, 8 Point Roberts, 7 county. We have 2 paramedics involved in that roster and 17 EMTs, including 2 advanced EMTs. Volunteer hours for the month of January were 2,671 hours of training. Volunteer payroll was 9,633. The chief hours equal, I worked 177.5, Assistant Chief Shield worked 184.5, with a total amount of chief hours of 362 for the month of January. We had a total of 14 incidents in the month of January. EMS calls, we had 10. We had 5 no transports, and we had 5 transports to North Whatcom Fire Rescue for BLS. We had no public assists. We had 4 classifications of fires. 1 would be a propane gas leak, and we had 3 false alarms. There were no other services or calls for service in that month.
Thank you. There seems to be nothing on the unfinished business. We'll move on to new business. State audit, auditor accident review. We already, Suzanne, you already covered that, and that will be Friday at 2 p.m. Okay. You intend to go to that meeting? The chief is intending to go, right?
Yes.
Okay, and I volunteered myself as well. District insurance coverage. Last month I brought up that we should take a look at our various options that we have. In September this year, our insurance, like a better word, lapses. We have to go to another company. And I encourage my fellow commissioners to take a look at the various options that are available to us, and so that we can make a decision next month, and hopefully next month, but no later than April. Is that agreeable with you, Jeff? You think you'll have enough time for that?
I'll make the time for that. This is an agenda item. But my recollection is, unless I'm doing bad, that we already presented to the board and passed insurance coverage.
Well,
Is that true?
Not quite. We haven't determined yet as to which company we have chosen to go with. So we have a total of 4 companies that we can choose out of. Some 6-7 months ago, we received this dossier with the pros and cons of all 4 companies, with comparisons. Some are better than others.
So you're saying we haven't taken up the business of insurance before?
Well, we haven't made a decision yet as to, we have to make a decision together, obviously, with the chief. He would be the biggest motivator in this. You know, the chief should know, and he does know the insurance company better than we do.
Commissioner, the business that we brought up was staying with CIAW for another year, if I remember correctly, because we have to give them a year notice. So close to last September, we discussed it, but we realized we didn't put in the notice of possible withdrawal from CIAW, so we continued with CIAW last September. Now that we have that we've put in a letter of notice of withdrawal, possible withdrawal come this September. It gives us the ability to look at the insurance companies out there that offer fire districts insurance coverage. So what you have in front of you, just like to go over that real quick. It was put together by Indurus, so it is actually put together by one of the insurance companies that we can choose from. There could possibly be some bias built into that, so I really would like to see all of us go through the binder that the commissioners received and that I received from Tony Kelly at Kelly Insurance. Really go through that binder. All of them are in the binder, and we can compare that way. I think this is a very inclusive spreadsheet, but I want to go through it over the next month and make sure that all the information is correct. And if there are unknowns in this, I will be calling those particular insurance companies and trying to find out the value of that unknown. So right now we're with CIAW, and we've budgeted for $19,000 in insurance for the years. We're basically, I'd have to say we're roughly at $18,000, somewhere in there, because it was $16,000 and we added some additional coverage. So we're close to $18,000 right now with CIAW. Indurus is the company that pretty much brings everything together. It gives us a lot of additional items of coverage, ease of coverage and things like that. But CIAW has also given us great value for our money. So over the next month, I would ask that we all take the time to look at the insurance companies, compare this sheet that was done by Indurus between all four companies. Again, I will find out, hopefully, the values of the unknown areas in this comparison sheet in order to have a full discussion in March and possibly make a decision at that time, or delay it if people need more time to make a decision until April. But as Commissioner Mercy stated, hopefully we can have this decision on which way we're going to go by the second quarter of this year, so we can have that decision so we're not hurried up when it comes to be September.
Is it true that we have no coverage right now?
Oh, no. We're fully covered. So we're with CIAW. So we have full coverage through CIAW. We've already paid the premium that is due for CIAW, so we're fully covered by CIAW. Now it's going to be our decision if we decide to change or stay with CIAW come September of this year.
What would be the benefit to us of continuing to wait another month of buying insurance? I mean, I'm not being very articulate. I still have this memory that no one was disaffecting me of, that we've taken up the insurance question. Tony's been here. He's made several presentations going back to by the time of our open house when he was up. And he's put together books and comparisons and
Right.
And I thought we were actually at the stage of making a commitment to buy it. One of the concerns was that if we stayed uninsured, we would have no choices.
No.
If there was an incident and we had not yet chosen a carrier, we would have some of these bids thrown out. We wouldn't accept them.
No, this district has never been uninsured. So in my time as chief or prior to me, when I was the assistant chief, this district has never been uninsured. We're currently completely insured, but we're with CIAW. What Tony has brought up is he's brought up the packets. As a broker, he's only able to speak to a certain point. But the packet was for us to go through to decide if we want to change the carrier we're currently with. So CIAW is the current carrier that we're with, fully insured underneath CIAW. We're fully covered if anything happens with vehicles, the building, anything like that. So we have had no lapses in coverage either. It's just deciding come September if we're going to change the current carrier that we're with to a different carrier because they offer more for the same cost or comparative same cost that would benefit this organization than our current carrier, which is CIAW. So that's the decision we have to make.
Well, my experience with insurance companies has been if there is an occurrence and there's been no contract or money changed hands, they're going to deny coverage.
That would be
Our
big
protection is the fact that we have the Endurus proposal.
We have Endurus, we have VFIS, we have ESIP. So this spreadsheet is differentiating between the 4 different carriers. Endurus put it together because they've compiled this information with their company. So Endurus is considered the gold standard when it comes to insurance. We're right now with CIAW. The reason why Endurus is considered by many the gold standard in insurance coverage is because it goes above and beyond in a lot of areas. To give you an example, on this spreadsheet, and it needs to be validated, I need to double check it within the binder that we've received. Property is at 1 billion coverage for Endurus. With CIAW, it's 100 million. So there's quite a difference there when it comes to property coverage. There's guaranteed replacement costs underneath Endurus that we have to pay extra for under CIAW, or if we went with ESIP or VFIS. So those are the comparisons we need to make. I need to discuss it with the commissioners as well, what's important for the district, what may not be important for the district, and see what the best insurance carrier may be in the future. It still may be CIAW come the decision of this panel, and we stay with them for the years to come. But if we find a organization, a business that offers something that we currently don't have, that's within their base premium, and that would give better coverage for our volunteers in their personal vehicles, the commissioners in their personal vehicles, things like that. Those are some things that will need to be looked at and compared and decided upon. But right now, we're currently covered, we're fully insured, we've paid our premiums, and
We're covered to September
yeah.
of 2014. So there's no, I don't know why you think we wouldn't be covered. Do you think because
Because
we
we
gave
haven't
them?
paid the insurance.
Of course we paid it.
Yeah, we paid it in advance.
We've
Not
paid
for
everything.
all of them, no, we're not covered by all of them.
We're only covered under the
I
CIAW.
understand, that's what I'm talking about. Why haven't we closed the deal?
We have. CIAW is our insurance carrier. We just need to decide if we're going to change to a different carrier because we don't like what CIAW is offering us. Because a different carrier may offer us benefits in areas that we don't currently have under CIAW. So we're fully covered right now under CIAW. They are our district insurance carrier. And we fully paid the premiums. There's nothing else we need to pay to them unless we change the type of coverage we have between now and September. But we are covered through September with CIAW. Now, come September, we can stay with CIAW, or if we make a decision as a panel, the commissioners make the decision to change insurance coverage because of different options within the different carriers. Therefore, come September, our contract would be finished with CIAW, and we would start a new contract with a new carrier, whatever the carrier might be that we choose from. But right now, this district is fully covered, as it has always been with CIAW. I don't know who we were with prior to CIAW.
CIAW,
So we've been with CIAW for a number of years.
since I've been involved.
Okay. All right.
All right, then again, maybe you can narrow my concern down to a single point.
Okay.
Why are we still considering competitors and other carriers?
The reason why we're comparing insurance coverage, not only is it a good form to compare once in a while between the different insurance carriers to make sure that the taxpayers are getting the money that they deserve if something does happen in this organization, but to really look at what's changed between the carriers and see if there's something better for this organization out there. And if we decide that there's nothing better within the insurance company that we currently have, that we're totally satisfied with what CIAW provides us, we don't need to change. But if we find that VFIS, ESIP, or Endurus has something or areas that would benefit this organization beyond what CIAW is able to offer us, then I think that's important to look at. So that's what we're doing right now. We haven't done that as a group yet. Looked at the specific insurance companies and made the decision, the final decision, whether to stay with CIAW or stay with VFIS or change to VFIS or ESIP or Endurus. And that's the decision that will need to be made in the coming months, whether that's in March, whether that's in April, June, July. It needs to be made before September. But currently we're with CIAW. Our decision has to be, are we going to stay with them or are we going to change?
That was a renewal, right?
Correct. We renewed last September with CIAW. And at that time...
That's what I thought when I started this conversation. I thought we had done that, and we have.
Yes,
So
we
I was
have.
confused as to why we're still doing it. Why isn't we calling it a new business item?
Well, the new business is deciding the fact, are we going to change carrier because they may offer something better for this district in terms of the coverages. The levels of coverage, the amount of money, the coverage, the deductibles, things that CIAW doesn't currently cover. And I can give you one example is Endurus compared to CIAW covers the response of volunteers in their personal vehicles. So if they get in a wreck responding to an emergency and they're responding to the station as a member of this organization, they would be covered underneath that insurance. That's just one example that I can give you. I think there's many differences between the carriers at this time, and again, I think a month or 2 months, a good month of going through the binders that we were given is a good option to have, and then we can come back in March and discuss this further, and if we need more time, there's no need to rush deciding if we're going to stay with CIAW versus changing to a different carrier. But we did renew back in September of 2013, so we're covered for another year by CIAW. Again, the bottom line is this panel needs to make the decision, is there something better or are we happy with what we have? We didn't have a choice last year. We couldn't make this decision last year, so we didn't compare last year. We have to give the other carriers, or the current carrier that we're with, we have to give them a year notice of intent to not to renew with them. So we didn't have the time to do that. I think we started looking at this back in July, August, started discussing it, and that's when Tony was coming out and telling us that, well, we don't have a choice, we have to renew with CIAW anyway, but it'll give us a year to look at the other carriers. And that's what we're in the process of doing right now.
Okay, last question. Follow.
Sure.
The coverage we currently have includes payment of the premiums.
Absolutely.
And it includes all the liabilities and the protections of fire commissions operation.
Absolutely.
Both.
Yep, it covers everything. Yep, it covers.
So what you're saying is you want us to take one last look at the items spread out. And we're going to have some areas of coverage that are higher than the CIAF. We're going to have some that are lower. We're going to have some that are the same.
Right.
And it's our job to evaluate our coverage to satisfy our own situation here.
And compare it to the other carriers. Correct. Yes.
So I'm not going to see new business with insurance.
It'll be old business next month because we're discussing it this month, and it'll be about discussing if we're going to be changing the carriers.
Okay. I would like to, for the minutes, ask that the insurance coverage comparison move at the next meeting into action. The board makes a decision between now and the next meeting to adopt the carrier.
Sure, and we'll discuss that at the next meeting, have an open discussion about that, and then you guys can take action on that in March. It'll be in the old business. Does that suffice?
Absolutely, thank you, Chief.
Okay, absolutely.
Thanks for your patience.
Well, let me tell you how this all came about, okay, because we've been going around and around the, I didn't know I was gonna step into a hornet's nest on this one. About a week ago, I asked the chief to put this item on the agenda, basically to remind the commissioners and the chief that we have an item that we need to be, that needs to be completed within due time, and that's all, due time. Like the chief said, if we can come to a conclusion next month, that's good. If we can come to a conclusion in April, that's good too. May is good too. June is good. It's all good. But I just want to move this thing along. That's why. Nothing has changed. They're insured. Everything is cool. No fire. There's a few different. Okay, it's like let's go shopping. We'll go to Safeway tomorrow. We're going to go to Fifties, to the market. Let's see where we can buy this and that. Okay, that's all we're doing right now. We haven't bought anything. Yeah. Are we clear on that now?
Yeah, he's on the same page.
We're on the same page,
Yeah.
reading the same book, same library. Good.
Absolutely.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Absolutely.
Okay, next slide. Exterior building maintenance. I believe that Mr. Riffle brought this up or asked the chief to put that on the agenda. I believe. I'm not sure. I haven't talked to Mr. Riffle.
What
Talk about it?
Commissioner Riffle is concerned about is the painting on the outside of the building, making sure that it's intact and that all the wood is covered, possibly looking at repainting the entire building sometime in the future. It's nothing that is an emergence. We don't have exposed wood. We don't have rot being produced that I know of. Going around the building, taking a walk around. I haven't been up on the roof, so I haven't looked at the boards up there. But ground level, everything looks pretty good. It's just something that we'll need to look at in the future. So, and then we'll have to pick the color of the building.
Good, never done that.
which may be an issue. So that's all about the exterior of the building. So, that's it.
The interior building construction.
Interior building construction, most people probably have seen, I put out a request for general contractors to contact me if they have interest in working for this organization. It's on Point Interface, and it's also in the All Point Bulletin, on their e-bulletin. So it's on the front page. It was an advertisement that was put in by Louise. And with that, construction needs to be done upstairs. And I've talked about this at a few meetings. We do have a bathroom that's roughed in up there. We do not have a female bathroom that is just for females when we have our female firefighters and members here. And I would like to see that toiletries and the vanities and stuff put into that bathroom, so when we do have a female here, they have their own bathroom to use upstairs off of the bedrooms. The kitchen needs to have work done on the cabinets up there. I think those cabinets have been in since the building was built, which was back in the 1980s. They've gone through a lot of abuse. We also need to put a vent above the stove that we don't currently have in place. And we need to do that just as an organization for fire code compliance. Other areas of the building that need to be looked at would be the bathroom upstairs. It was designed back in the 1980s. The shower is actually too small for some of our members because we have members that are 6'4", 6'5", very large people, and the shower is going to need to be reconfigured upstairs, which is in a bathroom, so that bathroom is going to have to be reconfigured. We currently, I think, only have a 20-gallon hot water tank. What is it?
Get that.
Yeah, approximately 20-gallon hot water tank up there that runs the entire upstairs. So we run out of hot water very, very quickly, so that would be updated too. The windows that have not been changed out within this structure include this office behind us, and all the windows going along the clinic and in the back of the building too. So those need to be changed out into more efficient windows, and that will be part of the project as well. I think that covers it, the kitchen, the bathroom, and windows. So once the deadline comes, which is February 28th, at that point, I will be sending instructions to those who sent me emails regarding general contractors, and I'll be putting together a letter of interest or requirements that they must have, requesting resumes, requesting references for their general contractors, getting copies of their general contractor license, their insurance, their bonds, everything that I can to make sure that we have somebody doing work on this building that is fully insured, bonded, and licensed as a general contractor.
Do they have to be on the small
Works roster.
They
work roster?
don't. They don't. We do use the small works roster, but they don't have to be part of that for us to use them as an organization. That is one avenue that we have to look for contractors. It makes it easy for us.
Okay, what do you think the cost is going to be?
That I don't know.
20,000?
Well, I need to find out if it's going to be considered a public works project, because then we have a $20,000 ceiling limit.
Okay, that's where I was
with public works, and doing work on the building, I think will be classified underneath that as a procurement. Otherwise, it would be a 10,000 ceiling, but 10,000 is normally in purchasing items, and then it goes into 20,000 for the public works project. So the ceiling for, just to mention, on the back septic field was a $20,000 ceiling limit. Yeah, so that was a public works project. So we didn't have to go out to bid for that when the septic business was working on the original. Yeah.
It was an emergency.
Right, but when we had to go out for that, due to the building flooding twice previously, it became an emergency procurement process.
Yeah.
And then we can go with the person we choose.
Yeah.
So this, I think, you know, I've documented my search for people who paint, contractors, things like that through phone calls that I've made to businesses, but I think this is a better process, putting it out to Point Interface, putting it out to the All Point Bulletin as well, to see if anybody that holds those professional qualifications would like to do work for this organization. And then go through the process and hopefully pick either one or two or three. They'll be able to bid, you know, the project separately and bid the project as a whole. So we may be able to save money as an organization that way too. So that's what we're doing with the building construction.
Do you want further discussion of that on the agenda?
I can let you know where I'm at. Sure. I think that would be important to
You
go
can
ahead.
probably put it in your chief's report, right?
So I can do something, because February 28th is the deadline I gave them to send me emails, letter of interest as a general contractor that they would like to be included. And then after that point, I'll be putting together a packet for them to send me as well. Yeah.
Good.
Adjourn, I will move to adjourn.
Second that, Brown.
Thanks everybody for being here.